Right then, it's a nice piece of Balinese teak. I'm going to turn it into a vase and I'll answer some of the questions I keep getting asked about vases. Okay then, I did this before with a ball blank. I keep getting requests to do it with other blanks, so I'm going to do it with this nice piece of Balinese teak. What I was asked to do was, I did one before where I went through what to look for in a ball blank before you even touch it. That'll give you clues to what way to turn it and that kind of stuff, right? So I'm going to do the same with this, right? Balinese teak. It's lovely wood. It has a dark heartwood and a light colour sapwood. Straight away I'm thinking contrast here. How can I get that contrast to show both woods, right? Now, anybody who's seen me do vases before knows that I have a standard vase I like to do. And the reason I like to do it is because it sells very well, right? It appeals to like the newer generations and older generations because it's a classic shape, and that's why I like to do it. I do put embellishments on it and stuff sometimes, just to make it a bit interesting, to make it a bit different, and to be quite honest, so that I don't get bored out of my brain doing them. I sell quite a lot of these, right? So that's why I do a standard shape. That was one of the questions I get asked, right? Now, as I said, looking at this blank, right? Okay, we've heartwood there, and we've sapwood around the outside. With Balinese teak, the difference is huge, so it is worth actually showing it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to round it off, making sure that I don't remove all of the sapwood, right? And just leave heartwood. And then I'll get on to the shapes, why I'm doing them, that kind of stuff. So we'll shove this onto the lathe and we'll get started with this. Right then, we're rounded off, we're in the chuck. Now the first thing I want to do is see if this blank has any problems, and Balinese teak normally does. Right, there's a crack down there, and there's a crack down there. I'm looking at it going, is it going to give me major problems? Is it a slight problem? When do I need to treat it? Right, and what I'm going to do, just to make sure, I'll probably have to do this a couple of times, is I'm going to run some thin CA down there. I'm not going to bother putting sawdust in there yet, because I don't need to. Right, but if you need CA to dry off quickly, a handful of it just rubbed over the top. Right, not bothering rubbing down at the cracks, I don't need to yet. Same on this side. Run some thin CA down in there, just to make sure it stays together. That's what I want to do, is where that crack stops, there'll be a little V, and that CA runs down inside the crack, gets to that V and soaks in slightly. It stops that crack moving anymore. So even though I'm not even close to shape on this yet, or where I need to do sawdust and CA, that's just, it makes it safer, right? Now, I've done absolutely nothing to this apart from round it off and stick it in a chuck, right? So what I need to do is straighten this edge off so I can see where I am when I'm turning. When you're turning something, it's always a good idea to try and have both ends straight, even if it doesn't really matter. Unless, of course, you're turning something that's a natural edge. It just makes it easier for you to visualise what you're doing. Not too worried about it in the middle there. I'll be sorting that out, and I don't lose the support that I have on that end. That's at the end. Right, so the vase I normally do, if you've been on the channel a while, you've seen what my standard vase looks like. If you haven't, I'll leave a link up there where I can't remember if I went through it or not. If I went through the design. But I've torn this vase a few times. Anyway, right. As you see, I have sapwood all the way around, which is what I wanted. But I want to be able to show off this heartwood as well. So I have to work that into the design. So roughly, right, roughly we're talking base, top, right, and all in here is the belly of the thing. I might actually make those a little bit bigger. I'll see when I'm going into it, right? So I'm going to cut down in here. Just to give me something to cut to on both sides. Then we can start taking this down. Right. So just roughly put the shape in for what I'm doing. Standard vase shape. Probably a couple of embellishments in it just because of the main thing in this is trying to show off the contrast of the two woods. Down there. Match up the ends. Now I can hear, right, and I might hear that. This is why I'm always on the business to be able to hear in the workshop. That sound is telling me that there's a crack. Ready? There's no crack there, but can you hear that tick, 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 tick? That's the sound of a crack. That's why I don't like to see, right, turners. There it is there. See? I couldn't see that before. I don't like to see turners wearing headphones or something like that when they're turning, because it takes that option of being able to hear that away from you. Now that one I am going to put sawdust in because that one is quite wide. A little bit of CA in to seal the bottom of the crack, as I explained before. Right. Some sawdust and then CA in on the top of that to seal the top part. Now odds are I'm going to have to do that a couple of times, but at least if I do that now, this part is now safe to turn. The tick tick sound is still there. It's not as bad as before. As I said, I'm just getting a rough shape into it at the moment. That's going to be a lot smaller than it is. Embellishment there, because that's going to be coming. See that bump there, that'll be coming out, but that will be staying. Smooth that on down a little. Finishing everything out. And that should all be hardwood there now. So It's not, so I need to go deeper because I want to show a ring of hardwood, so I need to go deeper here. Let's see. Not there yet. As I said, this one is all about contrast. The only thing I really have to watch for is that I don't go so deep that the inserts won't work. Hardwood's gone all the way around. And I want to put that embellishment back into it. And what I'm using to create the embellishment is that corner there angle on the tool. Now I've got to basically do the same thing on this end. I've got to find that ring. See what I'm doing. Have I found the ring? Very close. That crack is showing up again, so I'm going to have to treat it again. So they're probably going to have to treat this a couple of times. If you ever do happen to get a log of this Balinese teak from anywhere, this is something you're going to end up having to do because it does crack quite a lot. But it's well worth the effort of doing it because it looks really nice, especially if you get the contrast. Right now then, let's get to this shaping part here. Now notice something up here. There was something that wasn't quite. There it is. The little knot. I'll treat that or it'll fly out. Let me rub some shavings just to dry glue off. Let's get back to this. Use the same part of the gel to create the same with the detail down this end. I have the same kind of detail both ends. Right, this needs to come in a bit tighter. sweet into it. What I do want is, I want them slightly different, so you can tell just by looking at it that it's the right way up. Clean this end off now. Very light touch. All I want to do is clean the excess glue off the surface. So I'm taking an extremely light touch. Do the same there. You can see the shavings coming off, there's barely anything coming off this. Because all I'm doing is cleaning the surface. And then I'm happy with that shape. So look, see. Clean there a little bit more. That is not clean enough. Clean that up. Yeah, just a nice slight cut will clean stuff up amazingly. So I need to clean these off as well. Now that one is a lot sharper than this one for some reason. I see it. Right. Again, just a slight cleaning cut to give me the edge I want. And that is basically the outside shape. I have my rings of heartwood. I have the sapwood. And now it's just a case of sanding it. Hang on, there's a little hole there. It looks like it might have been a nail at some stage maybe, so we just fill that. Sometimes working with this exotic wood, which I love doing, but you never know what's been done to it. Before it comes here. Right then, you get to sanding that. And how's that big crack? Now that big crack needs filling in. See, it does there. I'm feeling that moist. Right, so now we'll get the sanding out. So I'll sand this and I'll be back in a second. Alright then, just putting the wax off. It turned out pretty much the way I wanted. The contrast really pops in it. And there's some nice grain patterns in the sapwood as well. One of the things I like about using this Balinese teak is that the heartwood over a couple of years will go darker and darker, and it really looks nice. And there we go. See, that contrast is gorgeous, and I said there's some nice little touches in the sapwood as well. So that is quite nice. Now we get to hollow on this, and the first thing I'm going to do is take that knob off of it. I will be using one of my inserts, of course. I do that in all the vases now. I can clear it. Right then. Grab the small ball gouge, get rid of this. Right, then we get rid of that slightly too close. Get rid of this, and then we'll get to working the inside. Right, and while I'm still supported, I'm going to give myself a clean cut here at the edge. Not to worry about in here, it's out here at the edge. I want a clean cut. Look at that. It's not bad. I'm going to need to fill that crack there, That's not too bad. I'm going to get rid of the rest of this. Right then, get rid of the pallet stock. Wait, I'll need that again in a minute. I'm drilling it to hollow. Get rid of this. It's flat, so it was an entry for the drill. Right, now it's up to drill this out. Get out of the way for the moment. Grab my depth gauge. Set depth about there. Depth about there. The drill bit. I only sharpened this the other day, so it should be nice and sharp. I don't know what I was using it on. Let's see how far down I have to go. She's there, so I'll put a mark on my tailstock. Too far I have to go. Right, so I've marked my tailstock to how deep I have to go. We'll check it. Well deep enough for that. Miles deep enough for the insert. Right, drilling this could take a while, so I'll just speed through it. Right, I might even cut off, depends on how long it's going to take. Depends on how well this decides to drill. Fine dust coming off that. I'm just going to put the mask on. Right then, that is hollowed out and actually cut very, very nicely for the insert. Now I'm just going to make this slope down. Grab my small bowl gouge and put a new edge on it. up a nice clean edge first. Yeah, it's clean. Alright, now we just start hollowing this out. What I'm going to do is bring this rim out until it's the width I want, and then I'll just back hollow it out. So start back hollowing it now. That edge again. Look at it. Yeah, that's not bad. I do have to fill there and there though. So I'll take it off first and I'll do these two little cracks there and there I need to fill. So I'll take that off first and do them. Leaving it on the chuck, of course. If you ever have to take something off to sort it, always leave it on the chuck, because you won't get it back on in the exact same orientation. You get it close, but this is just easier as well. Make sure I don't get any CA on the outside, because the outside's finished. So there's nothing in my hands when I grab this. Check where I'm cutting. Slightly low. If you're back hollowing, somebody asked me, and I can't remember who it was. Sorry, I can't remember who asked me this, but they asked me that they were having problems back hollowing, and that basically they were getting catches all the time. It's one of two or three things, right? Either you're too low, right, or you're too high. Too high normally wouldn't give you a catch. Too high would mean you're just not cutting. Too low will give you a catch, because the wood is hitting this, is hitting the gouge more face onto this, which will twist it, right? You're either, or you could be holding it too open, right? Same thing again, the wood is hitting here, it'll twist. There is a side bevel cut for inside, but I'm not going to go near that one. I'm just talking about back hollowing, right? Basically, close your flute almost completely and just pull. It's more of a scraping than a cutting action. So sorry, I can't remember who asked me that question, but I did say the next time I was back hollowing I would address it. Now I get some depth on this. Right. And what I'll do is I'll bring the macro camera in really close so you can see the tip of the gouge, so I can show what I'm talking about, right? Don't try and back hollow like that, with the tip of the gouge like that, because it will flip on you. If you're too low, it's going to do the same thing. If you're too high, you just won't cut. Right? You need to nearly close it and pull back like that, right? Now, when you're doing that, where you're cutting with is that shoulder right there. You're not cutting with this wing, and you're not cutting with the tip. You're cutting with that shoulder there. and you have to be gentle. It takes patience. And yet again, listening to your wood will tell you if you're doing it wrong. Check wall width there. I said, I'm sorry, I can't remember who asked me that, but I did say the next time I was back hollowing that I would address it. Right, it's still a bit thick just there. It's not following the curve. So I want to get it to follow the curve on the outside, because the curve on the outside scoops in and then scoops back out again. That's it. Yeah, got the scoop in. Right, I want to go a little deeper in there, so the tool rests further in. Right, don't ever try and back hollow long if you can help it, especially if you're here. If you're way down, you're fine, but always try and have the tool rest as close as you can. Wall width is good apart from just there. Just there, it's not right, it's not following. Yeah, that's good. Right, I have to see, do the crack there. And that crack there is good, I'd say. Right, so I'm going to do those two cracks. Can see that one? They're very small inside here. Hard to see. And the other one, there it is. It was there somewhere. I'll just treat it just in case. I doubt it'd go anywhere, but can't hurt, can it? There you go. Right off quickly. Right. Now I'll get the sanding and finishing the inside of that. And then I'll just cut it off and give you a better look at it. So actually no, I'll come back when I've finished that, because I get asked, how do you sand down there? Right, it's an old trick. It's basically it's a piece of sandpaper on a stick. Right, I'll come back when I'm doing that bit. Right, so I'm going to do there first. So I'll be back in a sec. Right then, I'm just coming back to show you this bit, because it was another question I was asked. How do you sand down the inside of one of them? Right, I've had this stick for years. Basically, it's a stick. What it was is this is actually a failed wand. I noticed when I was halfway through it, the grain was running the wrong direction and it was just going to snap. So I just stopped doing it. Right, now, there's a slit in the stick which sandpaper goes into. What you've got to watch is the direction, right? That is spinning that way, so it's going to drag the sandpaper that way. So you put it in, so that when the sandpaper is being dragged, it will be dragged around the stick. And just put it in. Right, this is just a piece of 80 grit, just in case there's anything down there, although that's drilled very cleanly, so I doubt if there is. Right. And then just keep turning it as you're in there, because it's going to clog up like that. Right, and that'll do it. It's that simple. Right, so I will finish sanding this, and I'll be back when I'm buffing the wax off. In there, I managed to get both sap and heartwood around the rim, which is good. Isn't that pretty? So I got some sapwood there, and I've heartwood up here. It's worked out nicely. Right, all I've got to do is part this off, and then I'll give you a better look at it. And when I'm giving you a better look at it, I'll show you some kind of tips if you want to do this style of vase. It's the kind of thing that your eye sees but your brain doesn't register, but if it wasn't there you'd see the difference, kind of thing. Right, so I will part this off, finish the bottom, and I'll be right back. Right then, there we have it. It's a little over 9 by 5.5 Balinese teak vase with insert, of course. Right, things about doing this style of vase, right? As I said, they're little things that your eye catches, but if they're not there, your eye also catches, right? Okay, the two embellishments, right? Underneath, it's concave, right? So it kicks out the same as the tops, right? On the top, it's convex. It turns in to match this curve here. They both do it. They turn in. So they're not both the same. They're not both concave or convex. You make the bottom one concave, curving in, and the top one convex, curving out to try and match this curve. It carries the eye down this, down that, and instead of kicking you out here somewhere, it kicks you down to this bump. Right, so it'll actually kick you down here and continue right down the vase. Try and make the top and bottom roughly look the same, right? But make the bottom one a little shorter and heavier. It makes the vase look more planted. Otherwise, let your imagination run wild. If you're lucky enough to get a piece that does have a lot of like sapwood and heartwood in it, try and show both. It really does make it pop. So if you enjoyed that one, I got that out of it. If you wouldn't mind clicking like on the video. And I'm sorry I can't remember who asked me about that back hollowing, but there you go. And I'll see you in the next one.